Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning. It is the 20th. And man, somebody just let a huge stinker on the market. What the heck happened? You know, I come in and I read my news. I'll come over here to the main screen. I read the news when I wake up in the shower. And since I've done that, something happened. Is the Federal Reserve contributing to economic equality? Asks the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. Well, that can't be it, but that's an interesting one we should read. When did this start? About 30 minutes ago, maybe more. Excuse me. The 2020 election dashboard by News Squawk. Oh, I like it. Google whistleblower. No, that's not it. And in Brexit news, Michael Barnier speaks to David Frost at 2 p.m. If successful, proper talks could resume tomorrow. We have set our doors ajar to resume talks, but that can only happen if the EU fundamentally changes their approach. Man. Enough is enough. I would like to moderate these debates since no one knows how to tell them to shut up. No, that's not the problem. Justice Department will file an antitrust lawsuit Tuesday alleging that Google engaged in anti-competitive conduct to preserve monopolies in search and search advertising. Okay. So that might be why the market is rolling over. Trump says funny things going on with the debate commission. I have to say that it is really quite stunning the way that the debate commission thing has been going through, that all of the debate moderators that were chosen were basically anti-Trump people. Kind of fishy. Countries with new COVID cases. Pelosi will be on Bloomberg at 12:30 Eastern Time. The administration wants a COVID-19 aid deal. I expect Senate Republicans to go along if a deal emerges. We want bigger stimulus than the Democrats, of course. Well, guys, I don't know what's going on, but let's just go into the charts. Trump expects McConnell to be on board if there's a relief deal, of course, and there will be a deal. You say so. Let's come over here to the charts. So yesterday ended up being a real doozy, especially after the 2:30 Eastern Time margin calls came in and we closed below that Friday low. So the chart is now looking quite bearish. And if we get another day like that down, then I don't know. The technical traders are just going to be freaking out, right? So you come over here into the treasuries. Kind of interesting. So yesterday they actually did have some more movement down, and then the crazy started and they pushed up. But here now again we're pushing down, even though the market is pretty ugly. So I am starting to see some support for this idea that we're not going to get a stimulus deal, but that the Democrats will release an even larger stimulus when they take over. That could explain why treasuries are really going down. And by the way, you can see the steepening, right? The 30-year is steepening. I think that we just want to come in here and sell the 30 and buy the 10 and just be done with it. It's probably what we should do. Anyways, oil still in a range, gold still in a range, copper moving higher. Copper moving higher. And why is copper moving higher? Well, the dollar continues to be weak despite the market trouble. So, we've got an interesting setup. What do you guys think here? Good morning, Win. Hopefully they expand the PPP for more easy fraud. Oh, you think that they've got more left in them on the downside? Well, let's see. I haven't really looked at it too hard yet. Let's see. Oh yeah, they could do that. We do get building permits here in a minute, so let's wait for that. Turn that on. Pack has said he sat on the panic sell button. It's your fault. I knew it. Okay, so the numbers are coming in. Housing starts slightly less than expected. Building permits slightly more than expected. Market not reacting too strongly to it. So I'm going to try something here. I don't really like my risk here. Well, we're going to have to just put it tight and just deal with it. Okay. Kamala Harris, we don't want a full president of the United States who spends full time trying to sue hate and division between us. Well, then don't vote for Barack Obama. Have you bought any Bitcoin yet? No, sir. How are they been doing? I didn't check them yesterday. Kind of forgot. They're up there at the higher end of their range. They're trying. They try so hard though. I honestly, if they're going to continue to sit in an overbought condition in Bitcoin, I'm just going to continue to sit out and wait for the inevitable Attorney General gets a hold of Tether. It's going to happen sooner or later. Rob took 20 points this morning. Wow. Good job, my friend. Good job. Well, the equity index has definitely come back there a bit. Overall, this entry is not looking too hot, although it's kind of luring there. I don't know. Tether is safer than cash. Well, it's not. Sorry, but when you can't provide the financial documents necessary to prove that your currency is actually backed with real cash like you claim it is, I don't see how you can claim that that is safe. If the US had a problem with Tether, they would have taken it down by now. Well, they're trying. Or you just kind of got to wait for that court case to work its way out. They are doing everything they can to avoid having to send them the documentation, which is really kind of quite crazy when you think about it, right? Is like, okay, we're fully backed by dollars and assets, liquid assets. Okay, so then the government comes along and says, okay, produce these documents, and then they spend months and months and months avoiding having to prove that. Sorry, can't buy that. It's maybe Bitcoin goes higher, but for me, not don't want to put my money at risk on something like that. So I'm just kind of reading around here. Still seems unclear to me why the market took the dump that it did. That said, they didn't really. I mean, I guess was that an overnight low? Yeah, it was an overnight low. It was not yesterday's low. Kind of bouncing, and I'm wondering if they're gonna sell more later. We turn back down, and then they sell again. Seems to be a bearish day again. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hesitant to call it too early. You never know what's going to happen. You know, maybe you start getting reports coming out that they talked again and they do have a deal, and you never know. Or maybe Pelosi's going to extend the deadline. I don't know. Fox anchor asks Trump about 50 Cent moving out of New York City, to which his Fox colleague asks, "Do you mean the rapper?" No, I think he meant the coin. Oh, geez. The 50 Cent story one is kind of interesting because everybody was pushing it yesterday as like, Donald Trump's inroads into the black community are working. But if you look at what he says, he's basically saying that he's only doing it for the taxes. I don't know if that's really the kind of endorsement that you want, you know? We're gonna get news about gold. Oh, that's tough. So I mean, the best one is to these news squawks. I wonder. I don't think that News Squawk has a. Oh, actually, they do. They have a metals. So if you go to newssquawk.com, they have a metals package, and that's probably the best breaking news that you're going to get about metals. I'm not too familiar with metals, so I don't know what kind of news and stuff you actually get. Hmm. I think I'm just going to add a chart here. Try something. Put them down here. Okay. So kind of sitting there, a lot has gone into 24. Single-family housing starts permits soar to the highest since 2007. U.S. and Russia are near a deal to freeze the number of nuclear warheads and extend an arms control treaty for a year, White House officials said. I guess that's good. Reuters just now spot gold was steady. Yeah, well, that's not necessarily news. That's just telling you what he can already see from his chart. Dollar index slipped 0.2%. Yeah. Now, what do you think is the reason for that? It's kind of interesting that the equity market looks really, really weak, and the dollar is not getting stronger. That is very concerning. And if I see a situation today where like the treasuries continue to sell and the dollar index stays weak and the equities take another route, then I start to get really scared. Something like a rate spike scare. Morning, Seth. Are you scared the markets could go lower? Sorry, I don't understand. So let me say it again. If the equity markets are going down and the treasury prices are going down and interest rates are going up, then I get really concerned about what markets could do at that point, because you get a situation where you're getting a market rout and the interest rates are increasing on them because the interest rate market is demanding a better interest rate because of all of the money that is being printed and so forth. And so you run into a situation where there's nothing you can really do to stem the bleeding at that point. Because if you put more stimulus in, it's just going to put more pressure on the interest rates. At that point, you would start hearing the Federal Reserve talk about, taking some supply out and so forth on the 30-year. Probably what you would get. So yesterday, when the market was really getting a hit down, the treasuries moved up. But by the end of the day, that retraced back down, and the treasuries are back near, below where they were yesterday. We were at 27.5 yesterday, right? So even though the equities haven't really recovered. So that's concerning, right? Oh my gosh. Did you hear this article about the journalist was masturbating on a Zoom call? Like, what the heck? How do you get a guy? That is just the most bizarre thing. How do you get people like that working for you? I don't know. People are weird. Let's see here. By the way, I didn't see any new news drops today. I was kind of expecting some more Biden stuff, and I'm not seeing it. I am seeing the whole thing about the antitrust suit against Google. This could be a big deal, especially if it's about search. Would that, because if it's about search, then that's a good that's going to hit them because that's their core business. But then could they attach all of this other stuff to it, like the whole silencing people on YouTube and so forth? Yeah, not too much news here in the morning. See, Bannon said a lot of Biden corruption information will be dropping in the next 24 to 48 hours, but I would think that it would already be out today if they were going to do stuff like that today. Jeffrey Tubin losing his Tubin. Man, what was he? It really just kind of boggles the mind, doesn't it? It's like, what could you possibly be thinking? I mean, I guess maybe you get off on the risk of it and all, but you're a journalist. I mean, like, come on. Yeah, everybody knows not to do it in front of a camera. I get you. Uzi used much more colorful language. I'll read it. Any man worth a shit knows not to yank the crank in front of anything with a camera on it, right? I just don't understand why people have a hard time with this one. But if information is stored in a digital form, there is a non-zero chance that it will get out in the wild. It's that simple, guys. If you don't want it out in the wild, don't put it in digital format. I have tape over the lens on my Chrome camera. I'm not likely to be caught anywhere anytime not thinking, but I'm glad we don't have so much video around when I was, yeah. Trump Fox News interview ends. Trump says he may try to interrupt Joe Biden less at Thursday's debate. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this just reminds me of this, but yesterday I'm reading Zero Hedge and the headline comes up, from Bannon. Apparently, Bannon is making his appearances again, and he says if Donald Trump loses, then he will just run again in 2024. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what would happen. Okay, let Joe Biden come in and deal with the virus, completely fail. Actually, maybe by the time that Joe Biden would actually be in, it would probably be close to the end for it. So, which is quite ironic. But you know, he could preside over the recession that's going to happen. Okay, you get 4 years of that, and then maybe you could get Donald Trump again. It wouldn't be the first time historically that a president has done something like that. Like that's what happened with Roosevelt, right? But he tried running again. I think he tried running again as a third party, but lost, if I recall correctly. Is there a Zoom Dick rehab facility in the USA? Why? Biden needs to get a refund, and advisors who think PR vote in Central Florida will help. They turn out an average of 18% and are rarely a factor. Biden's biggest loss is the Latino vote in Miami, a 30-point drop from Hillary. Oh, wow. Really? That's interesting. Isn't it so ironic that the places that Donald Trump is making the biggest inroads, like he is doing better this election than the last election, is with minorities, as if they didn't spend 4 years claiming that he was a racist and all this other nonsense. And it actually looks to me like the ones that are killing Donald Trump are the never Trump Republicans. which I have to say, so like especially these guys on the Lincoln Project, do these guys really think that they're going to defeat Donald Trump and then everything's going to go back to normal and they can go back to their usual pundit and K Street jobs? Like, hell no. Ain't no Republican is ever going to want to touch those guys again. And all of those politicians, like in my mind, like Romney in particular, screw them. Want nothing to do with them. Well, I am seeing that the E-mini is still just kind of flat. This is not a Russian hoax. Non-public information debunks letter from 50 former Intel officials. Cruz says he is skeptical we will see a stimulus deal. E-mini don't care. ING on Brexit, there will be a deal agreed. Wow, the proportion of U.S. households lacking a checking or savings account fell to 5.4% in 2019 compared from 6.5% in 2017. I'm surprised that it's that high. 5% is kind of a problem, and they're running literally all on cash. They need to get in on the Yada. Except for that, they wouldn't be able to get into Yada because you need a checking or savings account to be able to send the money to them. Oh, that's ING Bank that says there will be a Brexit deal agreed. Good morning, Ace. You want to go along at 34.38? I just want to wait. We're in the middle. We're in between buyers and sellers. We're getting a retracement after that huge dump. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to hold above 34.40. Overall, the action is really lackluster. So if we're coming in and we're seeing a turn at the top of the hour, as we often do, I'm concerned that it's just not going to give us enough of a direction. But I suppose we could still get 2 points out of it, right? Well, let's kind of watch here. If I wanted to get in, I think I would rather be a little bit further back, you know? Looks like Ted Cruz is with the consensus here. It says News Squawk. 50 Cent calls on followers to vote for Trump, citing Biden tax rate plan. Oh, he didn't just endorse them? He's telling them you should vote for Trump too. Oh, we got a red book. 2.5% year over year versus previous 1.2%. Month over month 1 versus a previous spot 4. Well, market tends not to react to red book because it's kind of information that's already out there. Our republic is on the brink, man. I feel like I'm constantly trying to talk everybody down. You know what I mean? One can dance with the one who brought them to the dance and mini staycations. Oh. This is a pretty time of year here on the Cumberland Plateau. Ace trades. If one must staycation, then this is a lovely place for staying. You know what I find curious? I don't know. I don't know if this is directly related to what you were talking about, but I've been seeing this on people's feeds. And then one of the things that I've been seeing is like, oh no, Utah coronavirus cases are increasing. This is bad. You guys, you need to wear your masks and everything. And I'm sitting here like, okay, we have a mask mandate in Salt Lake City. When I go out, I don't see anybody without masks. Everybody's wearing them. At what point do you sit down and you say, yes, masks reduce the spread of coronavirus, but they are not 100% effective, and you're still going to see a lot of cases regardless? Right? Like, I think people have got this idea in their head that if you just wear the mask and stay locked down, that it will go away, and it doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. Some guys in Treasury is complaining that it's not moving now. CNN was reporting yesterday from our stadium, where there is now drive-through testing. Your hospital is almost at capacity. It's time to be even more careful. Yeah, it is. Well, that one hospital is at capacity. Which one was it? I think it was the one up at the U, right? University of Utah Health had to set up extra ICU beds staffed by doctors and nurses. Yes. Um, the one that is like, so there's some pretty. We have this hospital in Utah, okay, that's new, um, and it's from Intermountain Healthcare, and this thing is ginormous. It's like a 13-story high-rise building out in the middle of the valley. So like from everywhere you can see this one tall building in the middle of the valley. And it's so big, we call it the Death Star. And yeah, it's I doubt that that's going to fill to capacity anytime soon. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it in that respect. But like this is the whole thing, is like, guys, you wore the masks. You did the shutdown. You did the social distancing. The hospital still goes to capacity. We've told you time and time and time again that this is going to happen. You're only delaying the inevitable. Until there is a vaccine, it is going to spread. Period. This guy asking about the debates and saying, "Am I the only one who thinks there should be minimal moderation, if any, and just let these two old bastards go at it?" Well, not necessarily, because it's not fair to the candidates when they're supposed to get 2 minutes to talk and they get interrupted. Although, like, one of the things that happened in the debate is the moderator would interrupt him. Forget moderation, let them snort Adderall. I'm, yeah, I should have gone short. Well, I mean, yes, you could have done that, but Labor Whip says there will be a statement at 7 p.m. today. How much is GMT from? Seven hours behind, so 5. That'll be at noon our time. My time. So Eastern is 5 GMT, right? So that'll be 2 o'clock Eastern time. Wait, oh, they're saying this is going to be at, yeah, 2 p.m. our time. Cool. When you say it's only 5, then that's kind of, I don't know. If the idea behind debates is to make their cases to undecided voters, there should be 2 moderators, a left and a right-wing partisan. Let the partisan grill Biden, let the left one grill Trump. No, how come they can't just, have fair questions? I don't understand. Like, here's the thing: is that you can go and you can ask candidates about a question, and I'm okay with them asking a question about a story. But the issue is that the debate moderators take all of these liberties with how they introduce the question, right? So the question should be, Donald Trump, what is your policy on global warming? And instead they say, but Statistics X proves that global warming is happening and is man-made. Donald Trump, do you believe that global warming is man-made? So they try and turn it into something controversial, and they tilt the question. And it shouldn't be allowed. Like, honestly, if it takes the moderator more than 15 seconds to ask the question, there's something wrong, I think. Because one moderator will always be biased one way or the other. But I mean, the thing is that in the past, I thought that moderators were kind of covertly biased, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Now it's like with Wallace on the first debate, I thought it was pretty blatant. And then you had this thing with the debate moderator for the second debate tweeting out and claiming that he made a mistake and then it being proven that it was a lie. And now you got all of this stuff with the moderator for this next debate that she was like she fed Hillary Clinton a question at one point. She got caught on a hot mic feeding Hillary Clinton a question. How is she the debate moderator? Like, really? How is she the debate moderator? And then you got somebody like Joe Rogan. I think that he would actually be fair, but there's no way that they would even consider him, right? Is just absolutely ridiculous. Donald needs to have his own questions like Barrett did. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I know. But so then there's this interesting thing about that they're going to cut the mics off. So does that mean that if it's the other candidate's 2 minutes that the other candidate can't talk, that might be okay? But I think that what is going to happen on that one is that then they're allowed like a certain number of responses back and forth. And so what you do is you wait until it's your last response and they have to move on to the next subject. And then you drop the big thing, the big mean thing. And the candidate never gets a chance to respond to it. That's what you do. And that's unfair too. And so that's why they started going into this thing where it's like if they said something that's untrue, you immediately reject it and say no. Jake Sherman, the next question Republicans will be asking then is why did we lose seats when the NRCC chair and president are saying they still may win back the House? There won't be unanimity on the answer. So explain this one to me. Polling shows pretty clearly that Martha McSally in Arizona is going to lose her seat. Seems pretty set that she's going to lose. But polling still seems really close for the presidential race. How is that the case? Don't get it. Be careful today too. Your note auction, it may move a tick or two. Yeah. Well, that's not for a while though, right? Well, I only have the bill auctions on my calendar here. So really not moving much today though, is it? You know, you got the E-mini came back there a little bit, but now it's reverting back to where it was too. For the record, I will never sell you anything. I'm a trader, not a merchant, says Brannigan Barrett. I guess. I guess he doesn't actively promote the Axia learning courses, but I don't know. The debate, the thing that I find interesting also, well, not interesting. I always like to start with that, don't I? Something I find interesting. I need to just come out and be like, okay, something that I said after the first debate was that I was concerned that that might just be it. That whatever happens at the debates after that are just going to be ignored. But it sure seems like at the moment that there's quite a bit of tension and anticipation for this debate still, doesn't it? So perhaps I was wrong about that. But then perhaps I'm still right because then the debate comes and it doesn't change anything. I don't know. I still see this issue where it seems like the thing that's killing Donald Trump is his response to coronavirus. And it's not even necessarily the policies, but what he says about it. Live action. How is it that housing starts are 2-star market mover versus permits being a 3-star? Because not all permits result in starts, I think. The establishment is covering for Biden. It sure feels like that to me. That's an opinion, though. I don't know how would I like conclusively prove it. Seth, are you familiar with Trade-O-Vate? Not really. You were asking something earlier. What was it? About moving the settings over. I forgot about that. Or was it? Was that way up there? Or maybe that was in Discord. Can you ask again? Because I missed it. It had something to do with that the names of the settings were different in Trade-O-Vate versus Ninja Trader, right? Hmm. You have Keltner channel changes. Well, so I think that the Keltner. Oh wait, you want to? What did you actually change about the Keltner channel? Are you saying that you changed the way that it works, or you just? Let's see here, Keltner channel. Because in Keltner channel, the only two parameters that you get in NinjaTrader is an offset multiplier and a period. So they might be named something different from Trade of 8, but they're definitely both going to use period. So then you know that the other one is just the other one. And the default in NinjaTrader is 10 period and 1.5 offset multiplier. Muddy says still no decision everywhere. Yeah, well, I mean, we had housing starts, but like, consider that housing starts is the most significant piece of news this week. Yeah, it's a slow news week. And we're still waiting on stimulus, and maybe we already sold down on the stimulus. So I'm not so sure that there's really strong support for the indexes to be moving anywhere. They have an ATR multiplier. Yeah, that's the offset multiplier in NinjaTrader. Because the way a Keltner channel works is they look at the range over the period that you've got, and then they take a multiplier, and that's how they make the channel. Right. If I recall correctly, at least. Careful with tech today. Yeah. So you notice that E-mini seems to be doing stronger compared to NQ, especially after that big route. I suppose that must mean that the route is confirmation that Google is going to get hit with the antitrust lawsuit. Speaking of multiples, may we please multiply the likes for speculators? Says Chanley have not already. This help promotes his numbers on YouTube. Thank you very much. Yep. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to remember to hit the like button. And you see that number go up. That feels good. Thank you very much. We've been doing well lately, and it's all thanks to you guys. So, by the way, let's see how our video about beginning day trader mistakes is doing, huh? You had a couple of good comments on that one, so in fact, I was even getting stuff like yeah, this one right here. It's doing slightly better than average. If people are watching it, that's good. Ooh, and we got an okay click-through rate. That's good. And I am getting people coming in from searching for day trading for beginners in trading on YouTube. So that's really, really good. Maybe I'm making it harder than it is. EMA period 1550, ATR period 1550, ATR multiplier 17. Oh, their Keltner channel is more complicated. I don't think that you can duplicate that one with the NinjaTrader, with the built-in NinjaTrader one. We could write it though. So on theirs, you get the period and the offset multiplier. But the period is basically what is the moving average period, which I think is just a simple moving average. It sounds like what they're saying is you can change what the underlying, you can change what the underlying moving average is, and you can change the range period and the EMA period to be different things. So that's interesting. So we could duplicate that. We could write it, but we would have to write it. Wouldn't be too hard, though. I know. I've been doing a bit with color channels, and I didn't find them particularly useful, so I should, I can take a look at it. You remind me later today in Discord or something, and maybe I can write one for you. I think we're gonna have to write something for you. Using an EMA, I don't know. My back testing on EMAs is not favorable to them. There you go. Anthony Crudelli, the main reason I've made any money lately is because I've walked away when I've been losing. Lately, every winner seems to be followed by a loser. Knowing how to lose can be frustrating and sometimes hurt the ego, but it can be just as profitable as having more winners. Yeah. But that's interesting that he's been experiencing the same trouble. It was kind of interesting how it went from like, it was so easy, and now all of the sudden, doesn't matter what you do, you lose. That would be wonderful. That's what I'm here for, Bob. Especially for an elite subscriber, right? Something simple like that, not a problem at all. It will be fun. Well, I think we'll get this thing like yesterday where I'll do something like, okay, let's get out of this, and then I get filled at 23, and then that's when they decide to actually really start moving. Yes. Any chance you can help? Yes. Yeah. You know what? I added it into the strategy, but not the indicator yet. So I'll do that after. That's why I added it into the strategy and then let it do a generational. So the one that I was, the backtest that I showed you was a generational one where it, you know, so it didn't try like every possible combination. That'd be way too many. Can you help me clean out my? I probably could, yes, actually. But there's the Rona and stuff. Yeah, but anyways, it was interesting that over a month time period we were able to get some that worked, but it's a little questionable still. Only a month and all that. I guess the thing is that it was interesting that we were able to get one that was even profitable over a month, but it was only barely profitable. But that wasn't the thing that was interesting. The thing that was interesting is that some of those had a high Sharpe ratio. Some of those had a high Sharpe ratio. So I'm like, okay, so maybe using that for an entry does make sense. But I was also using like a set profit target and all that. So I don't know. One of the things that I'm having a really difficult time with right now in doing back testing is you want to back test a strategy, like an entry. So then, okay, sure, let's just use a set target. But what I'm finding is that if you don't have a real edge in your exit too, then it almost doesn't matter what you have on your entry. It's going to end up with a random probability. Get what I'm saying? That's one of the conclusions I'm starting to make. Because I've had some strategies where I put in a bunch of different exits and stuff, and it did really well. But that one is the one that's like requires tick replay, and for some reason when you try and run it, it just like doesn't work. So, look at that. Somebody in chat asking about the stimulus meeting yesterday afternoon. My understanding is that they did the meeting, but that they're still far apart. They got closer. Have you tried writing a strategy that uses an ATR based profit target? I did. I actually, when I was doing that last video about the moving averages, one of the things that I tried was using an ATR target instead of a set target, but it didn't help. Because the issue essentially was that using an ATR target basically meant that it was going for larger targets overall, regardless of what percentage of the ATR you're using. And so uh, your probability was down, essentially. Uh, I forget the exact specifics, but it was basically like the win rate went down and the amount that you made on the winners didn't make up for it. So I think it needs to be more complicated than ATR. Maybe a short in this area? 5 minutes before the open. We could try something on the open, depending on what it does here. The treasuries did tick up 2 ticks there. Well, it's like I should stay vigilant, right? Is it okay to remind you on Facebook PM? Yeah, you could do that. Although if you have the Discord, it's easier to get a hold of me on the Discord. The way that the Facebook thing works, if you message the Facebook page, it doesn't go straight into the Facebook Messenger application for some reason. But I do most of my trading interaction on Discord, and it's a lot easier for me to keep track of things if you do it over there. But if Facebook is the best way for you to do it, then go for it. Actually, after the open here, maybe we'll do it. If I still don't like the action after the open. Smoker says, good morning, how are you? And you can see the equity traders stopping in. Okay, took me out. Was that 2 or oh, it was 3? Boo. All right, well. Kind of what I was saying, like when I got into it, I don't really like my risk reward. I shouldn't have taken it. I guess I could have gotten 1 several times. That's what I should have done. So the issue is, what is going to be the first impulse that we get in the E-mini? Because I think that statistically there's going to be some people, some technical edges trying to buy it. But I don't know if those guys are going to try and do something right off the bat. You know what I mean? Nice moving. Oh yeah. I didn't notice that. They're like the only thing that really moved. Italy's debt agency chief, Italy to issue a new dollar bond in the coming week. It sure is a quiet market, isn't it? I mean, what we're seeing right now really is not going to have any correlation to what actually happens here, but it makes you wonder. Okay, so there is some buying on the open. At least first impulse. It bought a little bit, then it came back. Okay. Some pushing. Nope, I missed it. I was thinking of going in at 36 and I missed it. So I think I'm gonna wait for like a clear reaction to a price. Okay, well, it looks like the sellers are a little stronger than the buyers, but the overall cumulative delta is up. Excuse me. Decent amount of trade going through there at 33. Okay. Not quite. Cool. Good trade. That's what I like to see. Like I get in, and then after I get in, I see a clear flood of people coming in. I'm not wary about trying to let something ride like that. I don't really have any strong levels above us, so I'm gonna guesstimate at 3448. The heck? Seems like Squawk is really interested in the bond offering from Italy there. Treasury's trading a lot there. Okay. It's a little downside movement there again, but very weak. Uh, hmm. Well, I thought about that one, but I was like, I don't see a clear reaction. I didn't see people moving up. It did kind of move up on its own, so. The cumulative delta is very much long. Excuse me. It says that was ugly, but there's you too. Okay, going down. Hmm. I don't know about that one. Okay, so there's a new RTH low. Mm, okay. I'm okay with that one going through because I wasn't getting the follow through that I wanted. Even though that one didn't go the full, it was 2 for 2, so that's nice. There was quite a bit of net selling on that last downturn. So for them to be up here again is looks good, I guess. That's an interesting spot, but I don't want to take an order there. Treasury here starting at 24.5 seems to be just going based on what the E-mini is doing for now. Here's that spot again. Okay. Somewhere down in here. No, it looks like the buyers have it. I was wrong. Buyers have it. Darn. Yeah. That was kind of a lackluster high there, actually. Think they got more in them? Maybe. Maybe. Oh, there you go. Kind of looks like they're failing there, though. Look at the ZB Vista chart. It doesn't get much easier than that. Oh, was there a big stack up there at the top? I don't think that it would show me because I'm not. Oh, actually, yeah. Oh, they went all the way up to 74? Oh, yeah, they did. This one in the treasuries, they've got like a lot of room below them to make a new low if they choose. And the E-mini's acting like they want to go for another leg, but have to be careful. There's that some algorithm stacking and pulling like 260 ticks away at 3375. I have to say that high looks questionable to me. I think that that it's gonna continue to be a little bit range bound for a bit. Even though I do see some potential for this to start plowing up. Hmm. No, blow my nose. No, man. Senator Warren, Donald Trump threatens the existence of human life, all life on this planet. Okay. Hmm. I'm tempted to sell it there and try and help him, but okay. Still looks kind of bullish, but they haven't made a new high in cumulative delta just yet, even though they've been hovering up around here. If 24 can't hold in some seller's pile, and I could see value target at 15, that's just a wee bit dramatic. A wee bit, yeah. Let me turn this on for a bit. So I've been missing a lot of comments here. I've been so focused over here. Yeah, they're just not quite ready to go yet. That dollar's still really weak today. Oil recovering its losses though. Okay. Donald Trump to the great people of New York, California, and Illinois. Your states are way too highly taxed. Big crime, people fleeing, and just about every other problem you can have. Vote Trump. I will turn them around for you fast. Oh, really? It's promising to turn things around for liberal states now. How is that? How is he going to do that one? Hmm.
Uzi Knesset says oh crunch.
Look at that. Okay, so that one was good, but I'm not seeing the follow through. Like there was like the people came in after me, but like the cumulative delta isn't really changed yet, and they're not pushing that again yet. So I'm a little concerned about this one. Yeah. Hmm. The Treasury though has been aggressive. Darn. Ah. I think I got a little too ballsy on that one. Okay. Let's hold up here. That hurt. I was looking really great until that one. Well, we're still okay actually. Still good, we're still good. There we go. The Treasury is starting to look really aggressive in it. 21.5 would be 21.5, and then 20.5 are some local lows from days past. Okay.
Uzi Knesset says almost there.
Those bids aren't exactly pulling, though.
Uzi Knesset says nice and stiff.
Been hearing some positive stuff about the Brexit deal, so I think that that's probably a part of the backdrop that's been pushing us up. It's not incredibly strong yet, though, and I'm still seeing this thing with the cumulative delta where it's a little unclear if they're going to get the oomph that they need to go and make a new high or not. But the Treasury certainly seemed to be buying into it because the Treasury started selling again. Checking my positioning. We're okay to go up again another leg if they choose. So okay. Gonna move that out of the way, even though I might take it out somewhere out here. But I'm kind of looking at
RJ
this,
Wheel
and I'm like,
says
well,
S
if they
still
have a stop
magnetized to
run up here,
VWAP.
we have some stop running up here. I think that they're probably going to go a little bit further than that. So, oh, it's floating up there.
RJ Wheel says trying to break free higher.
Yeah. Not seeing the movement that I want in cumulative delta yet, but if they push here, you're going to see the stops, and then we'll get there.
Ace Trades says at SMOK3R still wanting to short.
Did, by the way, get a
SM0K3R says yes.
Okay, so they're touching it. Why is this not? Oh, has they
Ace
never
Trades says at
confirmed a pivot high?
SMOK3RY.
Oh, this is likely to go through, I think. I need to test this one. I have a weird setup in relation to pivots that if you form a high and it doesn't confirm it by having a bar close lower for a long time, it seems like it's really likely to get taken out. But I haven't tested it. There you go. Okay. Looks like they still got a little bit left. There you go. Sweet.
SM0K3R says I expect them to pull in a bunch of longs to screw them over.
Very, very nice.
Ace Trades says at SMOK3RO. Okay, thanks.
See, this one right here shouldn't have happened. This one, look at that. MFE was 9. Could have done better on that one. The ZB, you're not seeing them. Well, here, we'll pull up the Vista chart again. Here's the Vista chart in ZB. You can see there's a size at 16. They haven't really hit into it yet, but they're starting to.
Says she's gonna bust.
Do you think that they're gonna bust through her and come down to like 12? Look at the iceberg in the 5-year.
Ace Trades says at UZI Knesset I'll take the other side of that.
What, and buy it at 16? Well, that's kind of what we're wondering right now. Is okay, so did you see the way that ticked through? Especially in the 10-year and the 5-year, where when it ticked, like almost 4,000 immediately offered on it. So that's kind of what we were wondering.
Uzi Knesset says, "Go ahead, spiffy, slightly smiling face."
I love it. So where do you think here on the E-mini now? Overnight high.
Ace Trades says at UZI Knesset, I thought you meant the S.
34.51. Okay, so they.
Bot says in today's theme music is "Fool and His Money."
Wait, why is that today's
Uzi
theme
Knesset
music?
says at ACE Trades Olol.
They think it's a bad trade? Is it going to go? I have to say, this one right here was the only bad one, but it wasn't terrible either, to be honest. And I kind of, all of the sudden, kind of feel like I have the magic touch today. Is this a delusion of mine? Am I experiencing a delusion? I just got lucky? I don't know. Okay, so they did trade into 16 and fill that guy, and now there's some showing up at 15. But look, they're hitting
Gorilla
into
Digits
those
says Smoker, going after 3,300.
Oh, really? I don't know what to tell you, man. As long as I continue to hear, okay, UK Brexit negotiator frost on Brexit, the situation remained the same as yesterday, and we will remain in contact. They seem positive about it. I'm going to take this one off in the Treasury because it is iceberging and everything there.
Uzi Knesset says 15
like
is a value level. Let's watch tongue out.
I think that it's a
Bot
good
says
value
the music
area.
choice was for meant those that were eager to get short.
I gotcha.
SM0K3R says no, just down to 3,404-ish.
So here's the question. Did I do well because I was reading the action correctly and I was really getting the order flow right, and I've kind of zeroed in on a good reaction signal that I can take? Or did I do well because I was buying? Who can say? Who can really say? The thing that I find so interesting about the E-mini is that when you're looking at the action as it's happening, it seems like oftentimes it just looks really, really random. But then when you get in it, it's really clear if you're the right way or the wrong way, because it feels like you can never get a favorable tick and it only goes against you. You know what I mean? I very rarely do I have ones like if I were to think through like my MFE and MAE, I'm going to bet you that 60 to 80% of the time it's almost all one direction. And then maybe 20% of the time, I'll get one where it will go like 8 ticks in my favor and 8 ticks against me, and then maybe eventually go out. Like those ones are rare, it seems to me. Back of the curve time spreads can be an indication what the smartest traders are thinking. If we move to new highs in the time spreads, that would be a signal the front month is getting ready to break out to the upside. Anthony Crudelli quoting somebody from his show.
Bot says the music choice was meant for those that were eager to get short.
Gotcha. So tell me, John, were you at what point were you confident that it was a buy? Because I'm kind of sitting here thinking about it and I'm like, okay, I think I did well because I was mostly buying, but I can't even remember why I was buying versus selling. Okay, well, I got that fill at 22. It's not bad, so. Yeah, Biden spokesperson on Hunter emails. I don't think anyone is saying they are inauthentic. Really? I'm seeing a lot of people that are saying they're not.
Bot says, I like those initial pivots as a guide.
Okay, maybe. So you're saying that after we broke in 34.40? Because I actually made most of my money before that. The one that I lost was right in here, huh? That one was actually, I was a bad trade, but I actually had the overall thing still right.
Bot says, and so far they haven't even managed to put in the initial pivot high this morning.
Right. So if that was the way of saying this thing, did you see this one which bar was it? 742. They put in a high, but it never got confirmed as a pivot high. It never got confirmed as a pivot high.
Bot says initial pivot low was in on the 945 bar.
I was really shocked. And I found a tendency. I haven't been able to backtest this. We should do that one today. I found a tendency that if you have a bar and actually maybe we did backtest it one time. I don't know. I need to make better folders. From now on, there's going to be like a John folder. But it seems to me that if you go a certain number of bars without confirming a pivot, that it's likely that high is going to get busted. Kudlow on television. White House economic advisor Kudlow, the U.S. hopes Brazil will keep careful and critical eye on Chinese investment. The U.S. has encouraged the Brazilian government to ensure we watch China carefully with regard to technology and 5G. President Trump calls on Attorney General Barr to investigate Biden laptop scandal. Oh, what's Donald Trump tweeting? The stock markets will hit new highs if President Trump wins. Tremendous growth like never before. If Biden wins, it's strangulation, not good. Google fits what Goldman once called the superstar firm, complete with high market share, rising regulatory policy risk, and slower growth following resolution. Yes. And then they're showing us a chart of how after Microsoft got hit with this sort of a thing, the stock stalled out significantly. And if the market rise has been driven by Google, but it hasn't really, you're going to have to hit Amazon, right? So if they had a regulatory case against, I think I have a sliver here in my hand. I have to remember about that. Actually, maybe I can get it with my tweezers. New do surgery. Don't look. Maybe not. Maybe it's just some dry skin. Well, since we hit that high, they came back and they pushed up again, but they didn't get very far. So we still appear to be range bound and having trouble extending from the overnight low. And they are a little overextended, so I'm having a hard time seeing a buy here. And in fact, I might want to start looking for shorts. Looks like that size at 15 in the 30 has disappeared. Building up a bit of volume there at the near the high. Trump campaign demands change to final debate topics. Did you see that they're not going to do foreign policy at the next debate? I was like, what? How can you not do that's like the president's primary job? And they wouldn't put topics on there that they already talked about. I'm with them on that one. So there's a bunch of pivots up here that they're trying to wash out, right? So that's why you're actually coming up into some pretty significant
Bot
resistance
says.
up here. What you got? You got a picture here? Just the pivots, yeah. Oh, you're on the 5-minute pivot chart. I got you. I got you. Check out on some news here.
Bot says 5-minute for initial pivots.
Right. Trump is the target of 97% of late night TV hosts' political jokes. Of course. And Trump campaign is set to release a digital ad highlighting New York Post exclusive report. Oh, can I watch it? Let's watch it. This is a smoking gun. I don't know if that's the most amazing political ad, but let's see. Wait, is this photoshopped? I've never seen a Trump hat like that. It's a picture, for those of you that are too lazy to come over and look, it's a picture of an Ice Cube and 50 Cent sitting together with Trump hats at a rally. I don't think that that's a real picture. A little something about it seems off. You can kind of see this absorption down at the bottom of the side of this. Okay. Pushing. I find it interesting when I've noticed a push like that and then I look down here and it doesn't move the cumulative delta. I am expecting though that they're going to have to come back. They are up there, man. Like probably to 34-44 before they can push higher much more. Of course, they'll probably go and push higher one more time before they do it, just to screw me up and make me look stupid. But it seems like the same thing as always, that they're pushing excess every day now because everybody's a trend trader. Burks confronted Pence about the increasing influence of Scott Atlas. It's interesting because I'm hearing people say Scott Atlas is like knows nothing, but he's a doctor too, right? What is it that makes these other guys more what is the word that we're looking for? More reputable than him, other than that Donald Trump put him in it. Burks raised concerns about the information Atlas was giving President Trump and suggested he be removed from the White House Coronavirus Task Force. Atlas is not an infectious disease expert, but has emerged as one of Trump's most influential advisors. Let's see, what is he? He is a doctor, right? Scott Atlas is an American neuroradiologist.
Octavius C. says, what was your rationale for the last CN short?
Good question. So it's a lot of it was the price action, but the theory was that
RJ Wheel says, wasn't it the 940 bars bots?
I guess one thing was that I did kind of suspect that the E-mini was going to move up, but it seems to me that the treasuries believe that if we get a deal, then they can push the treasuries down because that's a lot of spending, and they might have to put treasuries out to do that, and that puts pressure on the treasuries. But then if they don't get a deal, the Democrats just do an even bigger stimulus later. So when I was looking at the volume profile over here on the overnight from yesterday, right? So when we were having all of that craziness yesterday, right? There was a down move, and then the craziness came and we came up, and then we come back and I start and we're almost at yesterday's lows. That says to me that the treasuries don't necessarily care how bad it looks for the E-mini. They think that it's a sell. And so that's why I was going for sells.
Bot says no, the 945 bar was the first bar to close above the prior bar's high after the RTH open.
And even on this 5-minute chart, they still haven't made a pivot, have they? Though they may get it here. We
Bot
may
says
get
on a
it.
5-minute chart.
Octavius C says good trade.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good trade. I'm a little miffed that it's come back up like it has. I am a little bit like, I mean, not that it bothers me that I'm not in the trade or anything, and I got out at a really great spot, but I'm kind of sitting here wondering, okay, what's going on? I guess I can see, I think one of the things I see going on here is it looks like the 5-year is being influential today. There's some big icebergs here, and they seem to be ticking along with the 5-year a little bit, especially on this way up. And the 5-year was beyond the stops. So perhaps that's why. And if that's the case, then we could see
RJ Wheel says Tubin must have took up space last night.
we could see it turn around, and maybe we could sell it again around 24 half in the 10. But
RJ Wheel says is Tubin a verb now?
Is it? I don't know. It's you guys have been saying. I don't know how much is going to catch on. If I start seeing my Facebook friends talking about it, I don't think I've seen anything about it on Facebook. We got distracted. I was reading about Mr. Atlas. He is a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. Contrary to the recommendations of most of the scientific community, Atlas has pushed for establishing herd immunity, a reopening of schools and businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic, and less testing for the virus. His views and influence on politics have set off controversies on the task force. But I think he's right. Like, here's the thing is I think that what you want to do is you want all of the people that are healthy and are not vulnerable, you want and are not going to die from the virus, you want as many of those people to catch it and develop immunity as you can before it gets cold. And we are running out of time, by the way. We are out of time. I mean, I think it's already too late. But here's going to be the thing that will tell you if that was the right call or not. Is you're going to look at this second wave in Europe. How bad does this wave in Europe end up being? And how bad does it end up being in the United States over the winter? And how bad does it end up being in Sweden? And after we've gone through all of that, and then we have a vaccine and it's over, and then we can really look and we can say, what was the right thing? Okay, so this is the pivot. Like we were suggesting. So this is the thing that I find so weird about this stuff in technical analysis. You know, I haven't watched it yet, but Gary Norton has another video out today about and the video is gap theory the biggest nonsense of it all or something like that, which is I'm going to be really interested because people really, really strongly believe in the gap theory, right? And I've done some study on that. And I went on the 10-year treasury in particular, and I went back like 10 years, and over 10 years, there was only one overnight gap on the 10-year treasury that didn't get filled.
Okay, thanks, bots.
Only one in 10 years that didn't get filled. But then when you look at how do you trade that, the issue is that you don't know when it's going to go and fill the gap. And so as a trade, it's like you found a statistical anomaly, but actually creating a profitable trade out of it ends up being difficult, if not impossible. And so it's kind of the same thing with the pivot. It's like by the time the pivot has confirmed that it's happened, it's kind of like, oh, okay. You want to go short now? I mean, heck, we're almost to a spot where I might consider buying it again. You know what I mean? But if you can say that the pivot is about to form and you can kind of get it as it's happening, that would have been a great trade, wouldn't it? Well, there would have been at least 16 ticks in it, at least. You know what I mean? So this is where the odd thing about technical analysis, right? It's like it's worth looking at, but like, does it really predict what's going to happen, and does it really give you an advantage over the other market participants? I don't think it does. At least I've had a hard time finding it. Where is a good place to read up on this pivot study? Well, so the study that I did was on gaps. On pivots, we need to do a little bit on pivots. Here's the thing I will tell you about pivots. Especially when it gets tight, you will actively see order flow fighting over the pivot. It's really weird. Yeah. So like in this case, like if we just look at a 1 minute chart, I'll show you. Because this is when I'm this is a complicated indicator. Because the whole thing is that you say, okay, here's a high. It's not a confirmed pivot until you have a bar that closes below the low of the previous bar. Okay. So that's what that little circle is. That's when it confirmed. Okay. So one that I want to point out is that this would have been marked as a high, right? But you never had a bar close below the low of the previous bar until up here. So we went a really long time and you never got the pivot. And what you're seeing, like look in the chart. I mean, it'd be more clear if you go back and watch the order flow on the video on the replay, but just go and watch it. You'll notice that when they start getting below the low of the previous bar's low, they start fighting back. And you will see it timed as well, where like you'll see like at 30 seconds into the bar, maybe the seller will start making his move and then the buyer pushes it up, and they know that like where it closes seems to matter. So that's where again it's like I haven't been able to necessarily make it some automated strategy that makes money off of it. So that's where I'm like, it's questionable how much edge you can actually pull out of it. But there are these robots out there that seem to really care which thing happens. Like there appears to me to be an active fight over it at every pivot. Maybe that's just all in my head, but I sure seem to see it. And so I'm always being a little conscious about where the pivots are and like not, so like right now there's this question, did we have a pivot low at 34 or 42.75? Well, it hasn't confirmed yet. And then that's lower, so it's not a pivot. Okay. Right. Now here's what I think happens on this one. Assuming that the longer term view actually is still long. And that's a big assumption, okay? Okay, so that was the first thing that I want to see. So we're at like an ATR stop. So I'm expecting some of the more, I don't know what, some of the stronger hands are gonna come out here, right? And I want to see, oh, they already did it. 3440. 3440 right there, right? Maybe we can buy now. Don't want to do it on this tepid action though. I want to do it on like a real clear. So let's watch. 3442.50. So they're above it, right? So watch as this clock progresses. Does it appear like there's a fight over that price right there? 10 seconds. You see how he's fighting it? They want it to close above that. They did it, see? Do you see? And then when it did it, a bunch of people bought in. So it's like something that, like, there's these robots that care about it, that are actively trading it. I don't know if that means that you should really trade it too, but we need some horror music. The anticipation, the intensity is just too much, right? Well, you go back and watch that on replay. That is the most clear example I can possibly give you of how it seems to me like that the market cares about the pivots for whatever reason. So, I don't know. I'm taking it based off of my positioning indicator, not the pivot. So I had that order at 34.40 and I'm kind of disappointed. Gary. Okay. Hmm. So the one that that I think I really need to figure out is, like, you got to push up like that. I mean, we got a pretty good push up there, right? And then it seems like they give up that position so easily sometimes, you know? And how do I know when that's going to happen? Could the volume profile have alerted me to that? I'm not sure. Okay. Well, they came really close. They're going to try and get to 45.25. Hmm. Once again, I see the treasury reacting when the IC pushes in the E-mini. Hey, look at that. Yeah, still a little tepid up there at the top, though. Cool. I don't know, guys. What is the deal? I mean, that's really good. Why is it that it's either like you're doing absolutely amazing awesome or you're doing absolutely dismal? I don't get it. I'm going to tweet about this. Oops. Twitter.com. We went to Twitch. I'm like, no, I don't want to view Twitch. Oh, we should show our ZN trade too. Yeah. Hey, you go, man. Express yourself. Be all you can be. What? Oh, talking about me making a tweet about it. I want, it's a real question though. Is that the nature of the market, that there's no in between? By the way, that one turned back down after I got the win really quickly, didn't it? That in fact kind of makes me a little suspicious that worked out that way. I guess that last one was a bit of luck, wasn't it? Well, no, it wasn't just a bit of luck. I did catch an okay spot. I don't know. The in between is in between your ears. I don't know. This, like I've never had a day where it's like you battle it out all day, and then after a long day, you finally come out and you're okay.
Bot says you had a small doofus day today instead of a giant doofus day.
Yeah, but I never get like a slow grind. Okay, and then you come out. I worked hard, good, made the money. No, it's always like it's either too easy or like what the heck is going on? Nothing works. It's always like that. And then I kind of have to sit around and look at it, and I'm like, okay, well, when you look at my results, it doesn't really look random. Like the first trade, in the treasury was bad, but then we made up for it by taking it again at a better price. And then in the E-mini, I had one trade that was bad and then like a freak out FOMO afterwards that didn't work out. Okay, but that one actually went like a couple of ticks favorable, and I almost took it off at that point. So, and by the way, there was this other one here where I took it off early and it went. But it's almost like you can do no wrong, and that if you do make one, it's just like, oh, look at that, 40, 20, great. It doesn't seem random at first glance, but then a lot of it was just that I was positioned the right way, wasn't it? And the fact that most of these that didn't even have any MAE on them does indicate maybe I was catching something. But we'll keep doing that and seeing if that particular kind of signal that I've been watching for really matters or not.
Winston's mom says, Clip Tuesday Doofus Day.
I really wish that YouTube had the ability so that you guys could create clips. I think that'd be so much fun.
Bot says lol.
Like, and you guys would always make the clips that make me look the dumbest. I think that would be fun. I'm okay with it. I had this person that they don't like me and they're always trying to come up with like the most insulting things. And I just think it's hilarious. It's like, okay, maybe if you have some sort of narcissistic defense mechanism that anytime somebody insults you, that it's a really big deal. But to me, it's like, who flipping cares? You don't have no shit what you're talking about. Or it's actually genuinely funny, like. And John is the best at making those kinds of comments. Oh man. We're gonna get a pivot here. Well, they got plenty of time to do it. They got plenty of time. On the 5-minute chart, that is. See, what I think you can do, I don't know. The question is, can we find something maybe in the action that would accurately predict?
Bot says I'm not sure if that was a compliment or...
Is there something that we can find where we can predict that a pivot is about to be confirmed before it actually happens? Because it seems to me that if you were to sit down right now and say, okay, a pivot is going to happen.
Let's not make this personal says I have the best insult ever.
There you go. If it was 3340 and we said, yeah, I know that a pivot's going to be
Let's
confirmed.
not make this personal says you look like the guy I glance at in Walmart.
Like the guy you glance at Walmart, huh? Oh my gosh. I saw this video the other day on TikTok. There's this thing where like there's a little line that will come down, and after the line, and it takes the picture above the line. So you can like move as it comes down. And so these guys were doing it where they would let it come down a little bit for their head.
That could be a compliment, lol.
And their head would like be the sun, and then after that they would move the camera back and forth so that it looked like water, and it was like a sunset on the water.
SM0K3R says lol.
Freaking hilarious video. Because these girls were doing
Let's not make this personal says you're not but funny insult.
All these girls were doing all of these elegant things like, here, look, I'm smoking. But then the guy does it with his head. It was like, what the heck? Okay, so that one failed. That one failed. They were close. They were looking good there for a moment. I guess it could still turn back up. But that's where it's like, can you like really predict that? I don't know. Oh, bot says if you copy this, okay. I will do that. it in Momo. It's in its own kind of weird folder. So if you pull up the strategy analyzer, it might not be in the folder that you expect it to. Because I considered it a momentum strategy. So everybody's like, what are you talking about, Seth? It's a secret. Now I'm getting from Trading Floor Audio, Brexit talks hit stalemate after call in between chief negotiators BBG, Frost and Barnier speak for a second day after talks suspended. UK wants EU to show that it has changed its approach. Justice Department Rosen, the antitrust case is different from issues of bias in Section 230. Such as issues should be dealt with separately. Oh, thanks. Well, Barr, get to it. Well, I have to say, I think I still favor the Bulls at this point. It'd be a little bit harder for them to make the pivot, though, on this bar. Because the last bar had a pretty good range. I think it's going to go.
Bot says thanks.
No problem. Big fish yet to make a decision, says Wilson. Maybe. So we're just coming out of the counter trend period. So I've seen a few large orders, but overall. UK still not happy. Referring to the call this afternoon between the UK and the EU's chief negotiators, a number 10 spokesperson said Lord Frost and Michael Barnier had a constructive discussion. The situation remained as yesterday, and they will remain in contact. Frankly, not many Europeans are following this non-negotiating but still in contact dance of the moment. Those from member states observing involved in the wider issue of negotiations here in Brussels say they're not impressed. So some bearish sentiment coming into the market. Okay, so that was good now. So now they're pushing below the buyer's cost basis. So this may be turning sell. This is kind of interesting. So I'm just thinking about that Brexit stuff because when we came out on the open, I was saying like, hey, it seems like they're saying some
Bot says
positive
counter
stuff.
trend period gave us a move lower after what was basically an opening drive higher until the initial pivot high formed at 3,454.00.
They were saying, you know, they're talking again and they're going to talk at noon and maybe they're going to start negotiating again and everything's okay. And now I'm getting basically the same story. They're talking to each other and maybe they'll start negotiating again. But these guys on the European side aren't impressed with it. So it's almost like the market is reacting to the same piece of news twice, but before it was a positive take on the story and now it's a negative take on the story. Hmm. I'm not willing to call it a short yet, though. In fact, you could potentially buy it up in here. That still doesn't confirm a pivot high in the E-mini either. Right, so. Okay. So that's definitely not what you want to have happen. Okay, that's a little better. Nah. A little bit of pushing here. Okay. Ah. Still a little choppy though.
Gary Rich says, Seth, who is that makes fun of you? Have a link.
No, I'm not gonna get too specific. I was trying to be as vague as possible about it. Even though I'm betting that you're probably thinking right now and already suspect who what I was talking about. So if you have one of those thoughts, you're probably right. But don't say it. Don't say it. According to polls, Trump is going to lose all states. Where is that? Where are they getting that from? Oh, okay. He's definitely not going to lose every state. Right now, though, the polling does seem to indicate like he will not do very well.
Bot says if we didn't know before, we do now.
There you go. I don't know. This is still looking okay. I'd like to see more people following me, though. It's kind of like, yeah, it's a little too tepid, you know?
PRT1 says polling indicated that last time Alsop. Vlad Stolyarov says I overslept on purpose today. Expected doji inside day S doing fine NQ weaker.
I wish that I had been able to get the 3950 is where I really wanted it from. I should have been just looking to straight up pick it up there that time, but I wasn't really thinking about it.
Gary Rich says wow, I once saw the sunrise and moon set. It was life-changing. I'm a sucker for a good story.
Oh. Did you watch my video about the best beginner mistakes? Those are
Vlad
probably some
Stolyarov
stories
says
you
I
already
see
heard.
that DXY index down again 93.
I bet you're gonna watch that video and you'd be like, "Oh, I have a way better story." And then you should go post it. It'd be fun. Okay, that's interesting. You're getting some volatile price action here now all of a sudden, which tends to be bearish. We're still like above the buy line, so I don't know if that really means anything. It's just like
Vlad Stolyarov says it's a 1-hour chop doji area.
this freaking USB switcher thing.
Bot says I heard the guy that likes to make fun of you was so ugly when he was a kid his mom had to tie a pork chop to his neck to get the dog to play with him.
Vlad Stolyarov says 34 to 47.
Oh my gosh, this weekend we cooked a pork butt. It was good. I was surprised at how well it came out. It doesn't reheat quite as well, pork butt. When we tasted it there at the beginning, you put the barbecue sauce on it. Oh, so good. It was so good. Need to work on the rolls, though. The kind of rolls that we made weren't really the best.
Vlad Stolyarov says Thanksgiving meals are best.
I think we should try a different kind of roll, not the kind that, they were like a roll-up roll. We need like a big roll like that, so you can make a sandwich out of it. Quarles, the non-bank financial system has proven significantly more fragile than the banks by pandemic stress. He didn't do it, so I was wondering if he was going to defend himself there. Well, he may still do it. Let's see. He is. Damn it, I'm too slow.
Bot says which might be why he always sits with his back to the camera when he's streaming, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing.
There you go. See, now you're being too specific, John.
Bot says oops.
That treasury is up there, isn't it? I mean, it kind of came up and turned down, so maybe it's going to turn down, but makes you wonder over here in the E-mini. The treasuries
Rob Farley says choppy, but Egg McMuffins were good.
Egg McMuffins were good. Oh, that's right.
RJ Wheels says I
you
think
went and
it's so
got
we can't
breakfast.
see he's tubin. There. I used it as a verb.
Oh, no. Look at that. I don't like that. Yeah. Little clicky click there. Damn. I mean, I was starting to stock the short, but
Vlad Stolyarov says pivot. Vlad Stolyarov says NQ probably goes to panic 11,618 now. Rob Farley says can we make our own NDEX on the 5/6 stocks? Vlad Stolyarov says I would short only weaker sector like NQ.
NQ is definitely weaker sector today, isn't it? Because of the Google antitrust lawsuit. Okay. Good deal. Well, in the end, we came out on top from that one, but I had to learn my lesson twice before it did it. Look at that. That's a good. I should have canceled my take profit and let that one run.
Vlad
Because they're going to
Stolyarov
go
says
for
here
that
they
low for
come
sure
those
now.
bears.
Oh, those bears. Those bears.
SM0K3R says taking some off at 3,430.
You're not talking about those bears. You're talking about
Vlad
those
Stolyarov
bears.
says dollar tick changes.
Did the tick overextend there?
Vlad Stolyarov says
Not yet?
minus 700 underscore.
So that looked to me like 2, now 3. So somebody puked, and then it came back. And then I don't know if it was somebody else puked, and that was the one that I caught, or if that was somebody adding on now. But now we are below 34.33, and it is in the short's favor, and they've reached the regular session low, but not the overnight low, which is down at 26. And then you have to go back to yesterday.
Vlad Stolyarov
But
says
they make
lots of
new
market
lows.
leaders in tech were weak, so they decided to add to their flush.
Yeah, I think so. I guess my point is that, well, actually take that. So when you look at cumulative delta and everything else like that, it does appear
Uzi
to me.
Knesset says wasn't someone laughing at SMOK3R for his short. Lol.
Well, there you go. Yeah, in the end, he's right. Well, we don't know how far this is going to go. It's kind of tough. Because on one hand, a move like this might have difficulty getting rolling. But on the other hand, if it does go, then it's going to go and go and go.
Vlad Stolyarov says I am saying those bears BC. I didn't expect much of sell-off. Those bears from yesterday.
Yeah. It is. I think you're right. It looks to me like the regular session guys have been flooded out. But there's a lot. The longs made a lot of money. That's kind of where I'm getting at. So the issue is the longs made a lot of money. They bailed. They're probably unhappy about it, but they're okay. So at this point, if you were a bull, sorry, did I say bears? The bulls made money. They're probably unhappy about it, but probably the big guys still made money and are happy about it. They're guys like me, right? Okay, we're happy with it. Now, do they turn around and do what I did and start selling it here?
Rob Farley says
Or do
like
they
a big
just
oil
kind of
bun, in cast iron on the grill. Talking my language now.
big old bun? If you got a good roll recipe, Because we tried making Lionhouse rolls, and they're good, but those are like it's not like a sandwich roll. We need to make like a sandwich roll.
Vlad Stolyarov says I tried to make money on NQ long yesterday, realized I picked wrong direction, sold end of day. They took it higher, went up, had Google News, went down, dipped, retried, and back to rolly mode.
That yesterday wasn't actively trading it, but I was watching it move down, and that was sure some crazy down moves. Look at that.
Vlad Stolyarov says it got so extended, had to try.
Bot says at UZIConesset I wasn't laughing at his short idea, only pointing out it was a little early in the session to be shorting until they tested the overnight high.
Yeah. Good point, John.
Rex says, do you have day job, Seth?
I do.
Gary Rich says the Tennyson is so thick in here. I feel like a shaky shelter dog. SM0K3R says there is this huge volume node around 3420 from yesterday where a lot went long and I am still waiting for that to crack to the downside. Uzi Knesset says at bots I'm just goofing, brother, lol.
Now look at the 5-year. The 5-year really jumped up there, man. Pelosi and Mnuchin together will be speaking at 3 p.m. today. Pelosi and Mnuchin will speak at 3 p.m., says Jake Sherman.
Vlad Stolyarov says 3,400 on daily level as a level.
Some shorts definitely. So what I see suggests to me that some people did flip around and started actively shorting it. So I think this could be a buy, actually. Nope. Okay. So them speaking together is really good, right? That maybe they made a deal. Or maybe she's extending the deadline, or they're like, well, we're close enough, we're just going to work out the rest or something. Why would they speak together if it was negative
Vlad Stolyarov
news?
says it's good, but it's like me playing poker. Vlad Stolyarov says I have more chips and can say I have good cards.
Bot says thumbs up at UZIConesset.
Rex says what do you do in your day job, Seth?
I am a site reliable. Well, I'm more develop software for site reliability engineers. I maintain the
RJ
system
Wheels
that
says
the
I agree that was early.
site reliability engineers use to do their job, I guess.
Uzi Knesset says damn, for a minute there I thought that 74 evens would become a new support, but it held. Wow.
Bot says he bitches and moans a lot.
You talking about me?
SM0K3R says lol.
Well, when I'm doing poorly, man, I'm telling you, it's like you go
Rex
into the
says, what are
smoke
your
where
main
like
prog
nothing
languages?
works. Oh, I don't know. Lately, I've been writing in Golang.
Bot says in his day job.
Oh, bitches! I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Wait, let me pause this for a second. Yeah. I mean, I've used practically everything under the sun. I think that most of my experience is in C#. Primarily because that's what they taught us first at school. And then, the company that I work at right now is kind of a C# shop. Although that might be changing. It's kind of funny because they've been doing stuff with Azure. But since they've gotten into Azure, they've been adding more Linux hosts. They've been putting Linux hosts in Azure. So, yeah. They do a lot in C#, but at work lately, I've been doing Golang or scripts. But a lot of what we do right now is kind of more maintaining systems that are out on the box and dealing with the machine itself, rather than programming software itself. you've got all of these different systems that were designed. So like you got one thing that was built for um, source control, and you got one thing that was built for monitoring and alerting. And how do you tie those pieces together? And that's a lot of what we're doing right now. So it's kind of fun because, like I remember a couple of years ago when we were doing like the software development lifecycle stuff before Jira really became a solid thing, we're doing a lot of work on that, and there was a lot to be done. And eventually the software kind of caught up, and the software makers created out of the box solutions that worked for you, right? But during that time, it was hard to get things to work together, and there was a lot to be done. And that's a lot of what I do right now. Is it's like there's not like a perfect solution for monitoring and alerting for large companies. There really isn't. Datadog is one thing that's really popular, but I don't think it's perfect. And so there's just kind of a lot of work and patching things together to get it to work sometimes. So that's kind of what I do. And like I said, like they're moving things over to Azure, so I'm learning a lot about Azure. I've actually been impressed with it. Oh, come on, you can do that one more. There we go. Thank you. I'm 130. And you see, like, I got these ones that are bad, but like, looks like news wins once again. Actually, I'm honestly not 100% sure why they dumped there. Well, it could be from the positioning. Like a move like that suggests maybe news, but I didn't see any news. But it was in an area that is important to people's positionings. So I'm assuming that some longs just decided to bail there. And that's why I was kind of like, okay, so the longs bailed. It went back down to the bottom. It's to an area where the shorts are going to start, you know, having their way. But then a positive headline on the coronavirus stimulus bill comes out. I want to buy that. And it worked that time. So that's what the reasoning for that trade was. But I'll point that one out because that is that is the kind of trade that I want to take. Is I have something that tells me about the positioning that it's likely to reverse, and I've got news, and the market doesn't seem to be able to read that the news is as important as it is. So, like I was saying, the news is Treasury Secretary Mnuchin and Speaker of the House Pelosi to speak at 3 p.m. today. Why would they hold a joint press conference if the deal was dead and the deadline was about to pass and Pelosi is going to kill the whole thing? You wouldn't do that. So it's good. This is really, really good. Like we could, they're going to be slow at first, but this could turn into a monster rally, actually. Because think about it. Like we lost a lot. Well, there's the Google antitrust case. That's the wild card, right? Because if the move down had just been about the stimulus, then we could probably be at above 3,500, let's say. Above 3,500. Okay? But if we're going to say, let's say for the sake of, well, not for the sake of argument, but just because I don't have any better way to guess, let's just say that the Google thing is from 3,460. Then that means that if we come from the bottom of this up 10, 50, so maybe 50 points. So maybe we could get to 3,450 to 60. Would be reasonable. That's too much of a guesstimate. I shouldn't be guesstimating that far. But I'm just kind of saying this looks to me like a piece of news that is really, really positive that the robots in particular aren't likely to understand. I'm going to retweet this, in fact. Where was it? That was first squawk. No, it was Jake Sherman that posted it. So I'm going to retweet him. We will do the tweet. So if it goes up, then I get to say, hey guys, see, I told you to buy it. Did I not? I'm not telling you to buy it. I don't give financial advice, but I'm bullish now. I'm definitely bullish now. And now that we're above the open, yo, go get it. Go get it. 15 minutes, so I don't know if I want to take another trade, but go get it. You're laughing at a monster rally? Okay. No, I think that we could have a strong. I think that we could revisit the highs of the day. Let's be conservative. I think that we could revisit the highs of the day. I just bought because gosh dang it, guys. It's nice to see Seth happy when he talks programming. He's so colorful and it lights him up. Did I really light up when I talked about programming? Because I don't know. Man, some of the stuff that we've been doing at work has been like, kill me. So like I set up this machine and it was for Linux, and there was so many things missing from the machine, and it was so hard to set anything up. And I'm like, okay, well, like I just need to go and find the documentation that people have. Apparently, we were the first ones to like do it. So I'm like, oh crap. What is your monster in rally? So okay, so if I'm gonna say up, so I was kind of doing some guesstimating. Let's try a different way of estimating how far up we could get. Okay, so I'm going to say I believe we could touch 34.65 today. That's my price target, 34.65 today. Because I believe that is positive news on a coronavirus stimulus deal that could help. And by the way, they're going to put it out before an hour before the market closes. So, and I think that the timing of that is important too. So I'm thinking 34.65 before the regular session close. Actually, let's say, you know, that 15 minutes that the futures trade after the regular session close, let's say before that. There's been some weird positioning stuff going on during that time, I've noticed. How does your day job income compare to your trading income? Well, you know, sometimes I will do okay in trading, but I mean, you look at this. I'm having a pretty good day, and I made $130. Okay, I make more than that at my day job, so I am unlikely to quit my day job anytime soon. Especially since the day job is so it's consistent money, and I enjoy doing it, and I feel like that I'm needed when I'm there. You know what I mean? So that certainly helps when you feel like you're needed. El Presidente, before the deal is done, negotiated, and announced, what has the Senate said? President will sign it? That's number 3. No. That's 3 now. No. The president will sign it. No question about it. President has said that he wants more stimulus than the Democrats do. And I'm even thinking that his, from what he's said at least, his qualms about it only supporting Democrat cities and all of this sort of stuff, it kind of almost seems like he doesn't care about that anymore. So there's that. Then there's the Senate. Now that is a good point, which is like the McConnell has kind of been ignoring all of this stuff that's been going on between Pelosi and Mnuchin, and he's been pushing like the skinny bill. But I think that what's going to happen is that, or at least the scenario so again, why would Pelosi and Mnuchin have a joint conference if they hadn't come to an agreement of some sort? So I think what's going to happen is they're going to come out, they're going to say that they have an agreement, and then the House is going to go and pass it, and then the president is going to put the pressure on the Senate Republicans to pass it. So, the highs of the day are not monster rallies. Well, come on. You get what let's not let words get in the way of communication. I think that we could see 34-65. Maybe they'll come a little bit short of that, but we'll see. Right now, they haven't turned full on bullish, have they? In fact, where do we need to get to? Oh, no. We're like right at it. So it could turn. Of course, for a lot of the technical analysts, they're going to be looking more like, they're not going to start thinking, this is good until 34.40. At the moment, they're going to be thinking, this is just a bull trap, right? So we'll see. I should note that the Treasury has not sold yet. Now, that's maybe an opportunity. Actually, that does look like a strong opportunity to sell here at 26.5 if you could get filled. And then that could probably come down to the lows, if not further. You have the room, at least. But like I said, the wild card here is the Google antitrust case. So that's a real problem. Can the Google antitrust case completely cancel out the news of a new stimulus? Maybe. Although I guess the answer to that is that if you're going to be buying, you definitely want to be doing it in the S&P 500 right now, not the NASDAQ, right? Or maybe even going over to the Dow. I don't track that, but I mean, I think it's telling that we came down and went through that seller cost basis, and then now we're back up to the buyer cost basis again. So for ES and NQ, do you trade the minis or just the micros? I'm just trading the micros right now. I'm so risk adverse, dude. Do you see the way that I traded it today? Look at how many of those trades I had -5. Right? This one was really good that I did that and then flipped around. This one was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. And this trade actually wasn't a bad trade, but I should have exited early on it. So. Well, there's quite a bit of rotation around that open, isn't there? You can see how the volume profile is. So if they get through this area, then probably up to this, at least 45. But that's where I'm like, yeah, I think new highs and then 65, I think, are totally doable today. Might take them some time to do it, but what do you mean? Like here, I took -$5. Do you see that one? Do I have to draw it for you? Sorry, you can hear my leg bouncing. I'm like, so do you see these right here? And there was also, so there was those two. There was this one, and then this one should have been like that as well, where it did go in my favor, but I really didn't actively see people getting in after me. So I should have taken it at 8 there, but I didn't. So could have been quite a bit more in there. I could have been almost one. I could have been 150 today. Darn. I want to say like, oh, I feel like I have the magic touch. Well, not quite, but it's good. I feel like I'm doing good today. And I honestly, I could have taken another trade there and long, and it looks like that would have worked out again. So, but now I have my reputation on the line, right? If we don't get up to 33.65 today, or at least the new high today, Gary's going to be like, "See, Seth, you don't know anything." Well, a trade that large is not one that I really know if I have any edge on being able to make. But I'm just trying to read the piece of news and interpret it. And it seems to me like this is a piece of news that, like, when that happened, you didn't see like the robots reacting to it really strongly or anything. I don't think the robots would know how to interpret that, right? They would say news conference, Pelosi, Mnuchin. How do they put together the two of them appearing together as positive? They wouldn't know, right? So how would the robot read that as positive or negative? Well, we got about 4 minutes. What else do we got? Anything we got to cover today? IBM did a pump and dump. That's interesting. Gallup says 51% of Americans want Amy Coney Barrett to be confirmed, and 46% do not. Okay, that's interesting. So Pelosi's comments on BBG TV at 12:30 Eastern Time are going to be pure noise. Probably. Well, we're getting to the European close here, so. Buybacks are back. Recent announcements: Intel, Wayfair, Kimberly-Clark, HP, Albertsons, Lockheed. Hey, Albertsons, that's maybe one that I'd be interested in. What is Kimberly-Clark? I've never heard of them. Kimberly-Clark is an American multinational personal care corporation that produces mostly paper-based consumer products. The company manufactures sanitary paper products and surgical and medical instruments. Ooh, actually, that's really interesting to me. KMB. I'll have to look them up, because you get a little bit of consumer staple and you get a little bit of healthcare. That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. They're doing a little bit of a pullback there, so I think this is going to kind of be the moment of truth. I don't know if we're going to see how it works out before we go. Kramer pumped tech up yesterday, so being down for the Nasdaq is only natural. Well, that Google antitrust case is a big deal, right? You know, it would be an even bigger deal, though, is if there was an antitrust case against Apple. Don't think that's going to happen, though. PayPal, Square, Roku, Tesla, Zoom, video. Man, the whole Tesla thing is just. Tesla's earnings are Thursday, you say? There's too much going on Thursday. There's a debate and Tesla earnings. He encouraged people to buy the dip in Netflix too. Hmm. Okay, well, they're still heading down, but it's not crazy. It's just kind of at the open, and we'll see what happens. And what happens first? The new low, or do they move up to 34.65? That's one of the things that's going to be interesting about this is that I'm saying 34.65. I guess if this is not necessarily a great trade, because what if they went to a new low of the day? Would that invalidate the trade? Not necessarily, because like the chance of the trade still working out could carry all the way through until the news conference happens, right? So if they made a new low and they that might really hurt still. So I don't know if it's a trade that makes sense overall. So yeah, what should we call today's video? What resources did you use to learn trading? I don't know, Rex. You pick it up a little bit everywhere. I'll tell you. So let me put it this way: I have tried to premise my strategy. Like the biggest influence on my strategy was the book "The End of the Bull" by Gary Norton. If you want like a book to read and see how I trade, I that was extremely influential. All right. Kind of read that and I was like stuff that I already knew, but that was when I was like, yeah, no, this guy understands it, and all these other things are just kind of, you know, not reliable. Mm. Okay. I was trying to come up with a name for today's. Should you say something about how great I did? What's a good book about market manipulation? I don't know, man. I've never read a book specifically about market manipulation. A lot of what I know has come from reading about the markets here. Just you. Just reading financial news for 10 years. Anyways, I got to get going. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good day. I did good. I'm showing you, right? If I didn't show you, I probably did bad. And I don't do well every day. So don't read too much into it. Anyways, I will catch you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable.